Hey there, it's God-given. Phoebe is out and holy smokes is she good. She deals tons of damage, is going to be great for potential future units, and she has a ton of weapon options. Overall, an amazing character. With the shilling out of the way, let's get into the guide. Phoebe has a basic attack chain consisting of 3 attacks. When you use her resonance skill, Phoebe creates a mirror ring, dealing damage to enemies inside of it and stunning them for 2 seconds. If Phoebe stands outside the ring, her basic attacks will ricochet, dealing AoE damage inside the ring and pulling enemies into the center of it. If Phoebe is inside the ring, her basic attacks will be enhanced and deal more damage. The skill's ring lasts for 30 seconds. In the first 12 seconds after using the skill, you can reuse it, which will make Phoebe teleport inside the ring and deal some damage. The Resonance Liberation is a huge nuke, which can gain different enhancements depending on which stance you use the ultimate in, which will be discussed later in this section. Phoebe has 2 forte gauges, kinda. The first one is called Prayer and stacks up on its own in a span of 24 seconds. Phoebe doesn't have to be on the field for the gauge to stack up. Once it's full, Phoebe can get into one of 2 stances, Absolution or Confession, gaining a full forte gauge number 2, called Divine Voice. In both stances, after you use the basic attack chain or use a dodge counter, Phoebe can do an enhanced heavy attack, which consumes some of the gauge. If you use a heavy attack with the full prayer gauge, Phoebe will perform a big AoE attack, which deals a lot of damage, inflicts 1 Spectral Frazzle stack, and Phoebe enters the Absolution stance. Each enhanced heavy attack in this stance will consume a quarter of the Divine Voice gauge, and the damage multipliers of her enhanced heavy attack, ultimate and outro skills are increased by 255%. Basically, you deal 3.5 times the damage with them. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. If you hold the resonance skill with the full prayer gauge, Phoebe will perform a big AoE attack which deals moderate damage, inflicts 1 Spectral Frazzle stack, and Phoebe enters the Confession stance. Each enhanced heavy attack in this stance will consume half of the Divine Voice gauge and inflict 5 stacks of Spectral Frazzle to enemies hit. Resonance Liberation will inflict 8 stacks. The outro skill used in the Confession stance will reduce Spectral Resistance, increase the Spectral Frazzle damage dealt to enemies, and extend its damage interval from 3 seconds to 4.5 seconds on enemies close to the on-field character. The effect will end when you switch back to Phoebe. Last cool thing to note about the kit, performing a heavy attack mid-air allows you to dash mid-air, which on a broom style, which is pretty cool. Phoebe's first inherent skill allows you to do 2 dashes in a row. You can do up to 6 dashes in total, because by dodging mid-air or using a grapple, you reset the dash counter, meaning you can dash again. When leveling up talents, prioritize the Forte Circuit and Resonance Liberation first, then Resonance skill, then the basic attacks and intro skill. That's it for the kit. Depending on which stance Phoebe is in, she can either be played as the main DPS or a sub-DPS / Spectral Frazzle enabler. The second playstyle is kinda not that useful as of the 2.1 update, but in the future, if we get more characters that rely on Spectral Frazzle, then Phoebe as a unit will shine even more. Anyways, let's get into how to build this cutie. For weapon choices, the best in-slot option is her signature, Luminous Hymn. The String Master being quite close as the second best option. Judge's signature, Rime Draped Sprouts, is in 3rd place. Then pretty close to each other are Ocean's Gift, the new event weapon, the standard 5-star Cosmic Ripples, and the Battle Pass Augment Rectifier. For Echoes, go for the Eternal Radiance set if you have the option, otherwise go for Celestial Light set. Go for Nightmare Morning Ajax in the Eternal Radiance set, or the regular Morning Ajax in the Celestial Light set. Eternal Radiance is going to be much better on average though. For main stats, go for attack percent on 1 costs, spectral damage on 3 costs, and crit rate or crit damage on 4 costs. If you're running the Celestial Light set or a crit rate weapon, I highly recommend to go for crit damage on the 4 cost. For substats, prioritize crit rate and crit damage, then attack percent, then flat attack and heavy attack damage bonus. Getting to 110 to 115% energy regen is great for smoother rotations. Now let's talk about the rotations themselves. For now, I'll focus on the Absolution stance playstyle. This means that the team must include a Spectral Frazzle enabler unit other than Phoebe. As of right now, only Spectral Rover can fit that role. Before the start of Phoebe's rotation, you must go through your support's rotation and Spectral Rover's rotation to inflict 10 Spectral Frazzle stacks on the enemy. After that, switch to Phoebe, Heavy Attack to get into Absolution stance, Resonance skill, Echo skill, Resonance Liberation. Then either do 3 basic attacks into Enhanced Heavy Attack or Dodge Counter into Enhanced Heavy. Repeat this 4 times. Use the Resonance skill for the second time, switch to Spectral Rover with the Outro skill, do Rover's Enhanced skill and basic attack and repeat the rotation. If you don't want to use Spectral Rover in the team, then the rotation should start with Phoebe's Resonance skill hold to get into Confession stance, Resonance skill, Echo skill, 2 enhanced heavy rotations, then swap to teammates to do their rotations, then swap to Phoebe again, Resonance skill, Ult to refresh the Spectral Frazzle stacks, then Heavy Attack to get into Absolution stance, 4 enhanced heavy attack rotations, and Resonance skill. After that you have some time left until you can swap to Confession to inflict Spectral Frazzle again. You must do your teammates' rotations first. After that you repeat the full rotation. This rotation is a bit scuffed in my opinion. Of course, if you don't want to use the Spectral Rover, then try it out. It's going to be much more comfortable to use Phoebe as a sub-DPS Spectral Frazzle enabler though, as you won't need to use her in the Absolution stance. So I hope that Kuro will make main DPS units that depend on the Spectral Frazzle in the future, so Phoebe can unlock that sub-DPS playstyle. Now for the teams. The best Phoebe team as of the 2.1 update is Phoebe Spectral Rover Support. You can also opt to use Rover as a support unit instead, because with S4, Rover can heal allies with Resonance Liberation, which means you can utilize the Rejuvenating Glow set this way. In this manner, the sub-DPS slot opens up. There are many options for that slot, but for now, Sanhua and Mortefi are the best ones in my opinion. Mortefi provides heavy attack damage amplify with his outro, which Phoebe utilizes very well with her enhanced heavy attacks. Sanhua on the other hand has a very fast rotation and provides basic attack damage amplify, which Phoebe can also somewhat utilize. You can also try out other sub-DPS options, like Yanlin, Changli or Jianshin for the Resonance Liberation damage amplifications, or any other unit that you like to use. As I always say, just use whatever teams you think might work, experiment and you will have fun with the game. Thanks for watching this video, like and sub if you enjoyed it. Feel free to ask any questions you have in the comments section. See you in the next one.